Hey Trinity, welcome to our first installment of 5-Minute Mobilize. Thanks for tuning in. We know that you're being inundated with a lot of information about a lot of different things every single day of the week. And we just wanted to spend some time intentionally infusing these moments with some really simple, practical, gospel-informed ideas to help us all live as everyday disciples of Jesus. So here we go. Our first topic is on gospel community, and we wanted to give you 3 ways to pursue community even in quarantine. Now, this first one may seem really counterintuitive, and it's because it is. Look for ways to spend yourself even when you feel spent. Look for ways to spend yourself for the sake of others even when you feel spent. Jesus spent himself. He gave up everything for our sake to bring us into close community with himself. And now we have the opportunity to spend ourselves for the sake of others. I love my family. I really enjoy spending time with them. And throughout the week, I dream up of the next opportunities that I get to spend with them. I dream of ways to bless them, of ways to encourage them, to serve them. You know, when we see our community as an opportunity and not as an obligation, we're going to dream up of ways to spend ourselves for the sake of others. So, what would it look like for us to dream up ways to bless, encourage, and serve one another this week? You know, maybe during this season, it looks like picking up the phone after a long day of meetings and calling someone outside of your circle of friends just to encourage them, just to pray with them. Maybe it looks like spreading yourself thin financially to help someone in your community group who's just been laid off of work. Or maybe it looks like on your next trip to Giant or Aldi, picking up a few extra groceries for someone in need or one of our senior saints just because. You know, this could look 100 different ways, but the point is that we should be looking for ways to spend ourselves even when we feel spent. Here's another way to pursue gospel community, especially I think in this time of quarantine. Look for ways to do intentional spiritual good to your nearest neighbor. Look for ways to do intentional spiritual good to your nearest neighbor. For most of us, our nearest neighbors, our spouses, our kids, they just got a whole lot closer, right? We are in close quarters with our spouses and our kids day in and day out. And if you're anything like me, you've probably been looking at this time as more of an obstacle to overcome than an opportunity to embrace. But what if we saw this season of quarantine, a time to be nearer to our nearest neighbor than usual, as an opportunity to do real, intentional spiritual good to them? Spouses, maybe this looks like sacrificing your comfort to figure out ways to help each other with the everyday mundane tasks of life, like laundry or grocery shopping or whatever it might be. Parents, maybe this looks like spending more one-on-one time with our kids, right? And showing them in little ways God's love. Or singles, maybe this looks like, carving out some space to call family members and close friends, just to encourage them, just to pray with them. Whoever your nearest neighbors are, I would encourage you to ask God for opportunities throughout the coming weeks to love them and to serve them. One more way that we can pursue gospel community together is to pray daily for one another and then to tell each other all about it. Pray daily for each other and then tell one another all about it. Prayer is the lifeblood of every gospel community. We can't flourish without it. We need to be praying with one another. We need to be praying for one another. And a great place to start is our membership directory. There are about 30 pages in our directory. And so if we were to pray through a page a day, that's 4 people per day. We will have prayed through the entire membership of this church for every single member of this church in about a month. But we shouldn't just stop there, right? We should tell one another that we're praying for each other. It could be one of the most encouraging things to get a text that says, hey, just wanted to let you know that I prayed for you this morning, and I see evidence of God's grace in your life, and I'm really grateful for that. So look for ways to spend yourself even when you're feeling spent. look for ways to do intentional spiritual good to your nearest neighbor, and then pray for one another and then tell each other all about it. We hope that these things sink deep into our DNA in the next few weeks as we pursue gospel community together. Grace and peace, church.